Hey, it's Rana, and today we are celebrating Creative Chaos in Tennessee, which is Shannon. She is celebrating her second year anniversary and 2,000 subscribers here on YouTube. And we have a hop today with several people joining in. And I believe Shannon will also have a giveaway, which doesn't surprise me because Shannon is super generous, very creative, very supportive of everyone here on YouTube. And she has chosen a very fun hop here. She decided that we were all to go back to our very first video and scrap lift ourselves. So my very first video will be linked down below. I don't have it here to show you just yet. I will have, but at the time I was getting started here on my layout, I actually had my very first layout that I did a video for is in the baby's room, and she's asleep. So I will show that here in just a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. I pulled out my super old Coluzzle, and you saw me using that to make these 3 circles. I have 3 big circles like this in the video that I'm scrap lifting. So it's not my first layout ever. It's just my first YouTube video. And I have just celebrated my 1-year anniversary here on YouTube. So if you want to go back and watch that, I did quite a bit of stitching on that first video, and I stitched around circles that I had just punched directly on the page itself. Now for this one, I didn't want to do it exactly the same. I went ahead and cut my circles, and then I'm doing some stitching on there. You saw me using that Fisker's template to poke the holes, and then I just did a back stitch all the way around, a black one and then a white one. And then for this one, you saw the stitch that I did on the circle, just going all the way across. And I love it just like it is. That's not what I'm going to end up with, but I think that would be fun. I did the little flower stitch or whatever first, and I loved it, but then I went ahead and did a back stitch around it. And now I'm going to do a basket weave where you just go in and out right there. Everything's on top of the paper. Nothing is going underneath. And I just go over and under each of the stitches there that go across to make this basket weave. And basically I'm just wanting this to be filled in. So the pictures that you saw there are of my oldest grandson, and this was when we were on vacation just outside of Cincinnati last summer. And we stayed at this really cool camp. Here I'm showing you what it looked like done. And there's the layout that I used for my very first video. It was kind of made like doily looking stitches, and they were really fun to do. The video shows a lot of the stitching that I did, and I tried to explain everything. But anyway, my basket weave in the center was mainly just to make that bullseye, the very center circle, just be filled in. And that's how I chose to do it. There's other ways you could do it. It's easier to do a whole filled in thing, a whole filled in circle or something like that when you're doing fabric. But when you're doing it on paper, you have to be careful because you can't have your holes too close together or it will tear your paper. So I chose this method. I like to do that type of stitch where all of the thread is on the top of the paper and it's not on the bottom. It does help, for one, filling in the circle. You don't want to be going in and out and having a lot of the thread underneath. It's just not necessary. So I thought that worked out well. It did make a nice weave on the inside, and I thought it gave a fun texture. And so I will definitely revisit that circle and make some flowers like that though, because I thought that was super fun. Those would be fun just to have around the page in certain places too. So I'll probably go back and do that. So you did see my layout, and I have the three circles, and I had them kind of like how I had it to start with, where there there was a big title underneath. Now my pictures were the circles, and then I just had stitching around my pictures. I'm not doing that here. I'm going to use my circles as embellishments, and then I'm layering these pictures over top. The archery, so my circles are supposed to represent a bullseye. The archery class that they took, they just had kind of these, the targets were more like, I don't know, it's not really a hay bale, but it's just a little version of that, I guess. I didn't walk all the way down to see what they were, but I know that they were kind of hard for the arrows to go into. They had to get it exactly right to get the arrows in, and it was kind of frustrating for the kids the first couple of shots because they thought they were doing, really well, and then it would just bounce right off. So they had to work a little bit and listen to their instructor, and then they were able to get their arrow right how it was supposed to be, and it would stick in there, and so it was pretty neat. They really enjoyed it. Grayson really talked about it afterwards as being one of the favorite things that they did there at the camp. We also went to the Ark encounter, and that was really, really cool too. And then the next day, when we left there, we went to Cincinnati and we went to Creation Museum, and they also went to the Bengals Stadium because they are big Bengals fans. And since it was summer, of course, the Bengals weren't playing, but they did go to a Reds game as well. So it was a really fun little trip, and we enjoyed it. My sister went along as well in this camp. You may have already seen on my channel, if you have been around a little bit, that I also documented where we stayed at this camp, the same place where he's taking this archery class, but we stayed, instead of in a hotel room or anything, we stayed in a covered wagon, and it was very fun. They had some teepees there as well and some cabins that you could stay in, but we chose the covered wagon, and it was a neat experience. I wouldn't want to do it on every vacation, but it was kind of fun for what we were doing, and it was just a nice, really nice campground. We had a lot of fun with that. So I'm kind of choosing some rub-ons to give me some more base under where the bow and arrow was going to be. Also, I'm adding dragonfly up there at the top. I wanted something else blue. So there was a little bit of blue in some of the floral on that bottom rub-on. Then the mat is blue, and I wanted another place up at the top. So that's why the dragonfly is going to go up there. And then I'm going to choose one more rub-on to kind of go over here by where the title's going to be. So I have veered from, the original piece that I'm scrap lifting because my title's not in the same place. I kind of thought that that's where it was going to be. And at this point, I am thinking that all those tags up there at the top are going to be my journaling, and I was going to make behind the photos a pocket so that I could pull those tags out. But in the end, I ended up just going ahead and gluing it all down, and so the tags are not removable. They're going to be glued down, and I'm just going to write that it was an archery class at the camp and the date, and I may add some more journaling on the back, but really I didn't have a whole lot to say, and I didn't think it was necessary, so I ended up not doing the pocket. So I've off screen put some 1mm foam tape, and I've talked about this 1mm foam tape. It's my favorite. I get it at scrapbook.com, and because the stitching does make the circle not going to be flat with the page, I've put the 1mm foam tape all the way around the center between the stitches so that it's nice and flat. So the stitching and the 1mm foam tape really makes it pretty well even. So it's not going to dip down in those areas where the stitching is not. So that's why I went ahead and used that. So then for my photo, because I've got the extra cardstock and things, I'm going to have some 2mm foam tape behind this. And I just drew a line so that I know where to put that foam tape in the middle, and then I'll just add some more 1mm over a few areas over the circle, or over those bullseyes there that I'm going to have to cover up. So I wanted the pictures to stand up, and I obviously don't want them to dip in the middle, so I'm going to add this 2mm foam tape. Also, I get those rolls from scrapbook.com as well. These tags were so pretty. I decided, since most of it's going to be covered up, I would keep that part, and maybe be able to use that in another place somewhere down the road. I don't like to waste it if it's just going to be covered up. So this is a hop, and there will be a playlist down below. Definitely go check out Shannon. She is going to have a giveaway, and you'll want to check that out. I don't know what the rules for that are or anything like that, but it'll be on her video, and hers should be the very first video on the playlist. So if you watch this and then you go check hers out, she does a lot of really creative things. She does a lot of stamping on her layouts. She makes a lot of her embellishments, either using the Cricut or using stamping, and then she might use a silhouette. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on Cricut, but so she does a lot of pre-made embellishments and titles and things like that, and they're very cute. She's a lot of fun to watch. She's got a great Southern accent, so that's always fun too, right? So these little the kind of creamy white pieces are not 49 in Market. I think I may have failed to mention that I was using 49 in Market Crafty Garden, and then the tags were from Curator's Meadow tag set is what that one says. And then those other pieces are from Stamperia, and they're like decorative chips or something to that effect. And I used the remember up there at the top with the arrow, and then I used just a couple of little clumps of grass down here. And then the bow and arrow is, I just cut that with my Cricut. And I'm having to, I cut it twice and then I layered it together. And I thought that I showed that on screen, but I guess I didn't. The little dragonfly that I just placed there, I went off screen and I felt like I needed a little bit more of that brown color, and that is from the 49 in Market Toast. So there's a couple of leaves and a couple of dragonflies that I use. I wanted to get that third little piece of grass in there, but it didn't feel right, so I ended up not using that. But those are from the 49 in Market Toast collection, the leaves and dragonflies. And then off screen, and I think it's even after I take my final pictures, but I did add one more little dragonfly up there among those branches. After I took my pictures and everything, I just felt like I needed one more little bit, and I do that a lot. So I did not retake my pictures. I was coming down to the wire here, and I'm actually doing my voiceover after we got back home from baseball just to get this up in time. So I didn't have time to retake my picture with that one more little dragonfly, but you probably wouldn't have even noticed anyway. My title is Favorite because it was his favorite activity that we did while we were at the camp. We had lots of fun at the camp. We did some campfire, and we did some, of course, s'mores and cooking hot dogs and that kind of stuff. But we also had, between the teepees and the covered wagons, there was just a great field, and they played baseball and they played some soccer, and we just had a really good time. They explored like a little creek, and there was a lot of wildlife. We saw several deer. They found a turtle. It was really just a neat camp. So I'm adding foam tape behind each of the dragonfly's wings. I usually do that, just do the wings, and then I'll add a little glue to the center so that the body is just stuck down to the page, but then the wings look like they're, in flight because they're up higher. And I love all the dimension. So I have a lot of black and brown going on here. And I'm going to add some black splatters. You can see some black in some of the writing and some of the very background, but I felt like I needed a little bit more splatter just to make my bullseyes and the other black that I was using make a little bit more sense just by adding some black splatter. So I found one more thing that I hadn't added. Oh, and that little dragonfly actually gets moved too. I think I moved it 3 times. But after I do my I've realized that I missed that tag that says love this, and so I moved the dragonfly, and then I moved it again after I wrote my journaling right there on that tag where I just put my thumb. I moved it again because I ended up not writing on the little tag beside it, so then I moved that dragonfly over. It's not there yet, but it's going to go over that one real narrow tag. So that's how the layout ended up, even though it's not in the final pictures. I thank you very much. Definitely check out the playlist in the description box below to see everybody else playing along and what they have to go back and scrap lift because it was their first video. It'll be fun to watch. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.